Good news for Barcelona fans. United switch targets. Pochettino could be back soon. You've got a transfer roundup and today's Thursday favourites all coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host, Matt Froelich. You are the Onefootballers and this is the Daily News. First up, and there is good news for Barcelona fans as former President Joan Laporta, who's currently considering running for the next presidency, thinks that Lionel Messi will be signing a new contract with the club. No doubt about it. He believes that even though there is a few questions over the Argentine's future, especially considering the fact that A, his contract runs out in 2021, and B, he can actually leave for free at the end of any season, that with him in charge, not only will Messi be signing a new contract, but his grand plan is to bring Neymar back to the club as well. And on top of all of this, Xavi could be the new coach. This literally is music to all Barcelona fans' ears, but do not promise all these things if you can't actually bring it to fruition. I mean, Messi signing a new contract maybe doesn't seem that complicated if you can give him the right promises. Bringing Neymar back, as we've seen, is the most complicated thing ever, and actually with Xavi, it's a pretty good deal. It doesn't look like Quique Setien's exactly had the time to put his brand of football in Barcelona, but if you're really going to go full Barcelona, have their culture, their style of play, everything, what better idea than to bring back a former legend on the pitch and hope that he can replicate it while sitting on the sidelines. And on top of this, if you need any more convincing that Messi's going to stay, well, one of his Argentina teammates and closest allies in football, Sergio Aguero, thinks that he's going to stay at Barcelona. He says he's a legend of the club, he absolutely loves it, and so many people go to watch and play for Barcelona because of him. There's no way, unless something catastrophic happens, that he is going to be leaving. But moving on, and to Manchester United, who are apparently going to switch targets from Jadon Sancho to another Bundesliga star in the shape of Kai Havertz. Now, in the last few days, according to Italian journalist Fabrizio Romano, Borussia Dortmund are going to be asking for around 100 million euros for Jadon Sancho. That equates to about 87 million pounds, which is close to the amount of money that they paid for Paul Pogba. So, what have Manchester United done? They've said, forget about that. We'll spend only 10 million euros less on the 90 million that apparently it'll take to bring Kai Havertz away from Leverkusen. Now, in the first obvious instinct, you're going to say, 10 million is not that much of a difference, and I agree, it's really not that bad. When you look a bit closer, though, Kai Havertz is a central player. Like, not only is he different from Jadon Sancho, he's in a position which Manchester United don't necessarily need. If they've still got Pogba, they'll then on top of that have McTominay and Fred, who are more defensive than Havertz anyway, and they've just put in Bruno Fernandes. The reason they've been linked to Sancho is because he's the one they need on that right side of an attacking three. I'm not so sure Havertz is going to move to be played out there. He'd probably fight with Bruno Fernandes for a position. Whichever one of those is left out is going to be deeply, deeply unhappy. Anyway, I can't really see them moving for Havertz, especially over Jadon Sancho, especially, again, if you consider the fact that they've apparently offered him the number 7 shirt, and all that's left to do is, well, get the price right with Dortmund. Apparently the contract for Sancho is completely and utterly sorted and he's willing to join the Red Devils. But from some rumours and nonsense to more rumours and nonsense, and if Newcastle's £300 million takeover goes through, the man that they will look to appoint is Mauricio Pochettino. The former Spurs manager has been saying how he'd love to get back into Premier League action, and with Steve Bruce doing an okay job, it looks like the new owners want Pochettino because of what he did at Spurs. He's able to build a club over the space of 5 years and turn them into a top European side. Of course, they didn't win anything, but winning trophies is not exactly the first thing on Newcastle's list at the moment. They at least want to assemble a squad and then get it challenging in the first place before thinking about lifting any silverware. The key to this is that Mauricio Pochettino will be tempted with £19 million per year. That would be the second highest contract in the Premier League, only £1 million behind Pep Guardiola's contract in Manchester City, which expires next summer. Now, it will actually be interesting to see what Pochettino can do, mainly because he's being backed. We all know at Spurs that he did manage to mould an unbelievable squad, but wasn't necessarily backed when it really came to crunch time in the transfer market from Daniel Levy. That was potentially the step between them not only challenging for titles, but at least winning one. With Newcastle, if they're willing to completely throw that kind of money at Pochettino's contract, they'll definitely be willing to throw a lot of money at him and in the transfer market, which means that Pochettino may just get the backing he needed and may prove himself to be a winning manager after all. But when all is said and done, Pochettino also said on Instagram Live yesterday that one day he'd love to return to Tottenham and win a title with them. probably not going to happen while Daniel Levy is in charge. So next up, a quick roundup of the rest of the day's news that you might have missed. And Roma boss Paulo Fonseca wants to bring Chelsea winger Pedro to the Italian club. Celtic have told Arsenal they'll need to pay more than 25 million if they're to sign striker Odsonne Edouard. David Beckham has personally called Diego Costa to try and convince him to leave Atletico and join Inter Miami. And lastly but not least, today sees the start of coronavirus testing for all players in the Bundesliga and the Bundesliga 2 in Germany. This is with the hope of returning to league action next Saturday on the 9th of May. So finally in today's daily news, Thursday favourites. This is where you guys have asked me in the question for all sorts of my top 5 favourites on absolutely anything. Of course, let me know more in the comment section on this daily news and your answer to the question. So this one comes from Hamper, who has asked, Matt, who are your top 5 favourite under 21 talents in the world? There is a lot to choose from, so let's get straight into it. First off, and it's Erling Haaland. Now, for me, he's a slightly different mold of striker. This is just what I really enjoy about him. Like, yeah, he's quick. Loads of strikers are quick. He's also really tall. He's also great in the air. He's also physically brilliant. He's got great left and right foot, and he's incredibly composed for someone so young. I think it's his consistency as well that just makes him such a fantastic player. Really looking forward to see what he does in the next few years, whether that be at Dortmund or not. The second player, and we've just mentioned him joining Manchester United, is Kai Havertz. Again, if you haven't watched much of Leverkusen, I implore you to watch them and especially keep an eye on Kai Havertz. There's a reason why he's tipped to be not only by Leverkusen's next best thing, but one of Germany's brightest prospects for their future. The third one is, again, another player linked with Manchester United, and Jadon Sancho. Not only because he's such a brilliant player, but also because he's English as well. It's a good thing for the national team too. When it comes to old school traditional wingers, he's just got it. Drops the shoulder, quick bit of pace, brilliant final ball, and a great finisher as well. What's not to love about him? In second position, and someone who's actually been injured for the majority of the season. It's such a shame because Nicolas Bendtner had a fantastic first year with Roma. Quite an unusual looking winger slash centre forward. He just has abundance of ability and just looks like a really cool bloke when he's jinking through the defence and sticking the ball in the back of the net. Also, if you haven't seen that goal where he literally puts the defender and keeper on their arse before lobbing it over them, well, go and check that out. So lastly but not least, on my 5 favourite under 21 talents, the number 1 talent is Alfonzo Davis. Yes, I talk about him so much, and yes, I think he's absolutely unbelievable, but it is definitely warranted. An incredible flying winger slash fullback slash left side of the pitch. He's had a brilliant season at Bayern and is even better in the Champions League as well. Definitely look forward to what happens and how his career develops in the next few years. So there you have it. You guys let me know your top 5 under 21 talents, and thank you to Hamper for the suggestion. As well as this, you can also leave all your comments on the rest of today's daily news in the comments section below. Whilst you're there, smash the like button and click here or here to check out all of the other videos we've got going on Onefootball. But until next time, I will see you guys later.